Step one, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
I'm gonna say this loud enough for the people in the back. You know when your life's gonna change? When you stop running back to the things that God is trying to save you from. When you stop pressing rewind on the things that need to be deleted from your life. When you stop hanging on to the things that you know you need to let go of. Let me tell you this, moving on isn't always about knowing where you're going. It's about knowing where you're no longer stand and what you refuse to go back to. Straight up.
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, good morning, YouTube. Happy Tuesday. We were with each other all day yesterday, just about going over the Brian Kohberger hearings. We were able to get live updates. We followed many feeds yesterday. We were dropping and releasing the videos as soon as humanly possible. We ran them on here, but I also recorded them to get them out, so there was clean copies for other folks that they needed to get the videos, the videos from the court hearing. And I have to be honest with you, I've been gloating a little bit. I feel like I'm sitting over here because I've been kind of gloating, right? What am I gloating about? Kind of a little bit of everything. When it comes to this case, I'm very happy with the work that I was able to do and the assessments I was able to make. And it just seems like the more information that's coming out, the more we're finding out some of the theories that I originally had are coming true. Now, granted, not all of them. I'm sure, we're not going to be hitting 100 out of 100, but I love the percentile that we are in when it comes to this case. From the onset, it was really hard not to get into, the conspiracy theories and really go down all the rabbit holes that this case allowed people to go down. I was a little critical of the judge yesterday because we were getting text messages, tweets, so to speak. We weren't hearing the vibe going on in the courtroom. After previewing the actual videos of the hearings, primarily the gag order as well as the motion to compel, I kind of changed my stance a little bit. Yesterday, I was like, this judge is a little emotional, because the way it was being written, you couldn't hear the tone. I finally got to hear his tone yesterday when I saw the video. And I thought maybe, I wanted to make a point because when I am overcritical and it doesn't pan out to be a true statement, in my opinion, I like to correct that. I after reviewing, and we're going to go over the video. Now, I disagree with the judge. Don't get me wrong. I still disagree with the judge on many things. But his demeanor on the stand was professional yesterday. And I want to make sure that I state that because I thought he was being emotional, like telling the Associated Press to back off. But hey, look, the judge is basically saying, you guys are focusing on the First Amendment. You need to be showing that the fair trial rights are just as important. It's not that. It's not that they don't think that they're correct. It's just the judge in this court is only looking at one thing. It's not the press that's looking at one thing. It's the judicial. It's him. It's the judge. The judge has put a higher weight on this fair trial when both freedom of press and speech and fair trial are equal. The fair trial process is not greater than, it's not superior to, and that's the problem that I see here. Just in my opinion, just my preview, it seems to me that it's not the reason why the media is going after First Amendment is because the courts aren't looking at that. They are squarely. So it was like everything I heard the judge saying about the Associated Press, I felt like if he just changed the words around, he would see why we're in this position to begin with, in my opinion. I do hope that he says he was going to review or preview. Let me get my pen. Preview the opinion from the Supreme Court, which we have. It's just I've got a mess here, and I know it's in the package somewhere, right? I know it's here somewhere. But we have the criminal complaint. We have the invocation of rights. A lot of stuff here that we've been going over. Because we've had to figure out what gives here in this whole entire matter. And then we have, of course, the opinion from the Supreme Court. Okay, where's the second judicial? So it's not in this package. Where could it possibly be? Sorry, guys. I should have it readily available because we've been reading it for a freaking week. Oh, here it is. Is this it? Yeah. Okay, I got it. And and some of the stuff the judge said is in when I heard him talking about it was in direct contradiction, in all fairness, to what the Supreme Court said. And we're going to go over some of those. Why is this so dark? We're going to go over some of those here in a bit. But first, I want to say good morning to everyone. Let me see if I can tone this down. It seems like it's blacking my face out for some reason. Let's see if I can. Just makes it darker. It's not helping. There we go. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see me. But before we get started, let's go ahead and say hi to everybody. I won't be able to go through the entire line of people, and then we'll get over to our language of letting go. And we're going to go over some of the stuff that we learned yesterday at these hearings, replay the hearings, and also replay some other information about why I'm gloating, which many of you guys know. I have to be honest with you. I'm trying to be more positive. I'm trying to be, like, I got the pop mouth, right? We always talk about my pop mouth. And so it was like, after this Dateline, like this morning, I'm up and I'm thinking, and I'm like, you know what? I like Dateline. Everybody's running with this Dateline. I don't know who the anonymous sources are, but related to the knife and when the purchase of the knife was, it goes right into my theory that he went all the way to Wazoo to carry out this crime. And that's what I'm gloating about. Like Dateline, like we had a hit piece from Vanity Fair that was basically saying, "Oh, Bullhorn Betty, she just comes up with wild theories and this campaign of whatever." I can't even remember what was in that despicable article that was completely factless and misinforms their audience. But it's so funny because on the flip side of it, we've got so many things right. And not only that, we showed the receipts yesterday. I'm going to rewind back to that for all the people in the back. It's a lot of hard work that goes into these cases, and to get to this point and start hearing some of the theories that you had about the case being accurate and true based upon the facts that you had before you. I have to be honest with you. It feels good. It feels good. It's like, okay, we analyzed this case really, really well. We well researched this case, even though people were pointing fingers at people with no evidence whatsoever and just destroying their lives. By the way, they did. And I think that the Associated Press is getting a lot of heat from it. I don't think it was some of the stuff that the judge was talking to the Associated Press is not the Associated Press. It's some of these yahoos on TikTok. Now, and I've looked at some of the ones on Instagram. Now, there are some crazy people, some wild theories that we've all seen on YouTube. So the reason why I'm not bringing up YouTube, it's not saying that there's no crazy theories and severe speculation and a lot of people that have done some damage on YouTube. I'm not saying that. But we all see what is on YouTube. We're not seeing these other social medias because many of us don't participate in a lot of these other social media platforms. But it is rampant. And the ones the ones that I see that were the worst even now is TikTok and Instagram, because I went through them, and some of these things go all the way back. When you're going through and you like do a search, and you can do it yourself. You can do a search on, say, Brian Koberger, hashtag Brian Koberger or Brian Koberger, and just go through anything that discusses that thing, and you just keep swiping up, and you can listen to it. And some of these things are just ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. And we don't even think about it because we're all here in submerged in YouTube, that we're not looking at, outside of YouTube. And there is some really bad stuff on some other social media platforms that I reviewed that I was just totally disheartened about, without a doubt. So good morning, Unicorn. Nice to see you. Kathy S. Random Red. Big Boy is in the house. Mama Shellbell, it's nice to see you, love. Misty, a little messy. Aren't we all? Aren't we all? Net L, it's nice to see you. Maddie Down, Robert's Girl, Cranky Pants, Patty G, ZA, Cool Gamer, Only M, nice to see you. Susie Sue's in the house. Rebecca, it's nice to see you. Kathy Baker, Lori Lowe, Cynthia, Games, nice to see you. Tippy Toe, Emma M, nice to see you. Amanda, it's nice to have you here this morning. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. AJ, Tip It Back 88, nice to see you. Good morning. Van Lady, Mary, 3 Flying Doves, it's nice to have you here. Good morning, love. Buffalo Mountain, Tennessee girl. I haven't seen your name in here in a little bit. Love, it's nice to see you. I hope everything is going well in your neck of the woods. Who cares? I do. Nice to see you, love. The real me too. April, it's good to have you. Lori Lee, if I'm saying that correct, nice to have you here. Julie. Who else do we have? Who else? Nani. Oh, Lady O, Mike, Miss Potty Mouth, Denise, good morning. Buck Cherry Lover, it's nice to have you. Ghost of Casper, good morning from PA. Nice to see you, Betty. It's nice to see you too. NCA, it's nice to see you. And I got your message that I missed your message, and the mods sent it over to me. So I did get your message. I haven't had an opportunity. Well, I reviewed it, and what a sad case. But I haven't had an opportunity to look into it. But I did read the entire the post, and wow. And it was weird too. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, there was a husband and a wife, mom and dad, that were severely, like, they lived in this beautiful community. I mean, it was, you definitely wouldn't expect. I think that is really it's almost the crux of this. It was just, you didn't expect it. It was in this beautiful community, and this 10-year-old boy weighing only 36 pounds was out looking for food. Somebody ended up calling law enforcement. The boy begged not to go back to the house. There was other children at that house. I don't know what their condition is, or if this was just his type of punishment. The probable cause affidavit was horrific. It was really horrific. The prosecutor in the case for this, she was almost in tears. It almost seemed like. Yeah, I'm getting old. And we're going to be reading The Language of Letting Go. And did you guys hear me yesterday? Like, I was on my phone trying to read all those new motions, and holy crap, I could barely see the print on my phone. And I was just bound and determined I wasn't going to come out here and do it. I just wasn't. I wasn't going to do it. I had everything there. I was fighting it. And I'll be darned if I couldn't read. If I couldn't read the print. And of course, my BFF calls me, right? And I'm like, I said, this is just driving me crazy. And she's like, what? And I said, I can't read small print anymore. I said, it's getting really, really bad. I said, it wasn't that bad, 6 months ago. I said, but it's getting really bad. It's getting hard. I never had problems reading small print, and I'm having problems reading small print. And she's like, it's no big deal. Just get you some readers, I'm like, no, I'm not going to get me some readers. I'm not old. I don't need readers. I'm struggling here. I'm struggling with this middle-age stuff, okay? I don't feel it. I don't want it. Nobody asked me. They didn't ask my permission. My body didn't ask my permission to age. I'm sorry. It does not have permission to age. I don't know about you guys, but I surely did not give my body permission to age, and definitely not my eyes. So anyways, thank you. Good morning, all. So let's just get on into the language of letting go for May 23rd, and then we'll get on to we'll go through the videos, and we're probably going to pay a little close attention to the second video, because the second video is really related to the non-dissemination order. And, the judge, like, I understand the judge's position. I understand the judge's position. But the problem here is this was not created by the media. This was created by that court, that period. And clearly what they're doing is wrong. I think it's well known at this point, there is going to be some modifications to the non-dissemination order. To what extent, we don't know. I think, I don't know anybody that truly is trying to follow this case and get information out. I don't know anybody that really wants to do anything to harm this case. I don't think the media, I don't think people like me are looking for, stuff that will affect this case, that will cause Brian Koberger not to have a fair trial. I don't see that happening. Okay. I really don't. But what I do see is an overbroad order that is that has basically is moot. In my opinion, at least portions of it is moot. It's unenforceable. Therefore, it doesn't exist in this order. So it's like it wasn't created by the media. And we're going to discuss, because the opinion addresses this whole weight issue and this whole preemptive and presumptive order, because they're putting the order in place for conditions that are for actions that have not happened. Like, they're putting this order in place to prevent things from happening. And you can't do that according to the Supreme Court of Idaho. And we're going to read that so everybody is well versed in what is allowed and not allowed when it comes to this, according to the Supreme Court opinion. Now, granted, the Supreme Court opinion is not a controlling document. They didn't weigh on the standing of this, but they did explain a lot related to this case. They also explained what they felt were the grounds that the media had. So I really think it's good for us to listen to the judge and then go over the order of the Supreme Court and see if we can determine ahead of time what kind of modifications they will be entertaining to keep them out of the Supreme Court. I will tell you, I believe it's in everybody's best interest. Just looking at this, everybody, I don't know how the legal counterparts on YouTube or Twitter believe about this. I haven't watched their stuff yet, so I don't know what their opinion on it is. But either way, I do believe that this is going to, that it would be, that them pushing this to the Supreme Court is not going to have the outcome everybody wants. And it's actually going to cause problems, if you will, into perpetuity if it's pushed to the Supreme Court. So I'm hoping, for me, from my view, that everybody works on this to come up with a reasonable resolution that all parties can live with, including the media. I'm perfectly fine with the relaxing of this. I do believe, and many of you know, and I say it all the time, I do believe that Brian Koberger needs to have a fair trial. We talk about how I'm happy that he has a pit bull for a defense attorney, a public defender, because it's one less appeal we will have in the matter. That is the most important for me, is once he's convicted, we want to limit the amount of appeals he's going to have. Everybody, if he's sentenced to death or he is sentenced to life in prison, everybody has the opportunity to file an appeal, and they will. And these appeals will hold up the process for, decades as they work through these appellate processes. So this could really drag out for years and years. And so you really want in a court to try to limit the appeals that they can have, the grounds in which they can have appeal. No matter what you look at, any high profile case like this are going to have appeals guaranteed. Like it's a standard operating procedure. Okay. I don't know how to explain it other than that. Will he appeal? Will he not appeal? If he's convicted, it's automatic. He's going to appeal. I mean, it's not automatic, but it is automatic, because there's no attorney that's going to, especially when it comes to life or the DP, is going to not appeal, technicalities, the process. They'll even send him to an attorney to say that they were ineffective. They had ineffective counsel. So it's grounds. A lot of the grounds are subjective in nature, and that's why they have to have hearings on it. Typically, that at the end of the day, all the appeals are denied and exhausted. And then you move over to the, them living out their sentence, whatever that may be, whether it's life imprisonment or the DP. Either way, however you look at it, that's kind of how it works. May 23rd, say when the time is right. If you wait for the perfect moment when all is safe and assured, it may never arrive. Mountains will not be climbed, races won, or lasting happiness achieved. I'm just waiting for the time to be right is a common excuse we use. We can sit on the sidelines waiting for the perfect moment, but never get in the game. Sometimes it doesn't feel right. Sometimes the time doesn't feel right. I'm too old when I started to skydive, too poor when I started writing, too enmeshed in an alcoholic husband when I began recovering from codependency, and too involved by my addictions when I began recovery. The time may never be right. You can choose to wait until someday arrives, or you can begin now. Is there a dream hidden away in your life, something you wanted to do but put off for so long that you almost forgotten what it is? Maybe the time is to pull it out again. Get the college course guide and sign up. Go to the local gym and start working out. Take a chance. The right time for journey is when you begin it. Why not today? God, motivate me to live a fuller, richer life. Activity. Here's your activity. Here's your homework. Pull out your wish list, folks. Choose the one thing on your list that has been quietly waiting for that right time, and decide that right time is now, and just do it. So there's your homework, guys. Just do it. The Nike slogan of our century, language of letting go. Go pull out. What did you want to do? What's on your bucket list, right? We didn't call it a bucket list back in the day, but now that we're aging, holy crap, we have bucket lists, right? Go find, hey, turkey man. So go find that thing, that one thing that you've always wanted to do, and you just never did it because the time wasn't right. Well, the time is right now. We're getting older and older. Tomorrow's not promised. We might as well live for today. So just do it. Pull it out. Find out what it is. If you haven't been to a zoo in forever, or been licked by a giraffe on the side of your cheek, go there and do it. If you like whitewater rafting, but scared that the water might smash you in your face or you might fall over, who cares? Go do it, right? Go do it. That's why they make harnesses. Go do it. What's the worst that can happen, right? The worst that can happen is you hurt yourself, or worse, right? That's the worst thing that can happen. That could happen to you getting in your car and going to work today. So just go do it. Just go do it. So it's nice to see you all here. We're going to kind of get started. I'm going to go through some of the videos we went through yesterday about, maybe not. Maybe not. Let's go to the hearings first, because I want you guys to hear the hearing. Here's the arraignment. We're going to talk about this standing in silence. I think that was two-part. I really do. I think it was two-part. And I will go over why I feel it's two-part. Thank you, L. Is it L? L Boogie. Nice to see you. Well, thank you. Thank you. Mama Bullhorn would love to call in. So let me just hold on just a second. Let's talk to Mama Bullhorn. Say hi to her real quick. She's been jammed up in a bed. Hopefully you guys can hear.
Hello.
Hello.
If you have a chance, take it.
Yeah.
Take that chance.
Absolutely. How are you doing today?
The physical therapist manipulated my knee.
Mm-hmm. That's what
my kneecap yesterday.
That's kind of what they're supposed to do, Ma.
And I hollered out, "Fudge Sunday."
Mm.
It hurt so bad. Oh my gosh.
Without saying Auntie's name, did she call you?
Yes.
Okay. So
Not this morning.
yesterday.
Yes.
Okay. And she
has my address.
Okay. Just making sure, because she was talking to me yesterday, and I'm like, I got, what I gave her my rundown of my schedule today and everything. And she's like, oh, well, maybe I'll just go out and see your mama. I said, okay, it sounds great. Here.
I didn't know what the ETA. I figured she'd leave about the time you leave, right?
Yeah, something like that. Something like that. She's going to go hunting for stained glass. She loves her stained glass.
Oh, yeah. I thought she was going to do that yesterday. But,
well. No, I don't know. She said she was getting her diamond blade saw realigned and getting some more stained glass. I don't know.
Well, I was calling. I think because Brian Kohberger's defense attorney wanted a quick trial.
Kind of, sort of. She's playing the game. Like I when I saw her doing this, like just outside of this, I'm like, okay, I already saw. Everybody thinks they're going to be going to a court on October. It's going to end up being delayed.
Well, it's going to get delayed for one reason or another. But my non-legal ideas is her defense may be the same as Stouch's defense, and that is no defense.
No, that was more Lori Vallow. Hold on. They did put a defense on I think you're mistaking it with Lori Vallow. Lori Vallow, they stood up and said, we rest. They didn't put on a defense. It was Stout. They brought that crazy Dr. Lewis that was clearly off the rockers.
Period. And she lost the case for sure. She put the final nail in the coffin.
Because she made it so unbelievable. If she would have taken it into consideration and just said, like, when they were trying to do this multiple or whatever personalities that she had, and when they said, well, you do realize that whole entire story is a lie, and she didn't explain it. She's like, well, yeah, she's still, no matter how you turn it, the lady's crazy. That's not what the jurors like to hear. They like to hear somebody addressing it. Well, yeah, we did realize that what she was saying was a lie. And we thought that, because this is part of the disease, they will do and explain it that way, and she didn't. She just said, no, she's crazy. And then when they challenge her and say, hey, like Dr. Lewis, what standard are you using? What's the definition in Colorado for insanity? And she's like, well, if you just read it to me, I'll let you know if it applies. And it's like, lady, you're the one that said it did. Like, do you even know the standard you're using? And
she's too old. But my point is, Brian Kohberger, there is so much not physical evidence against him, not circumstantial. I'm talking physical evidence against him.
Direct.
And then the circumstantial comes second. He's like, I got a feeling he's either gonna try to swing a deal or go ahead and say I'm guilty.
I know a lot of people says that he's probably going to spare his family from the public trial, but I just don't think his personality is that. He's one of those personalities that knows he's right and knows he's going to get away with it.
He's got to pay back all the trial fees and stuff.
He's going to be in prison the rest of his life, making 17 cents an hour. The man's going to be dead and still owe millions of dollars.
That's like Murdoch changing his, trying to change all of his stories and say, I didn't say that. I didn't say. We all watched him. He said it. It's like, oh my gosh. Now that's a certifiable crazy man. But I just wanted to call. Is Aunt Trish?
Ma, you gotta whip the names.
Okay.
That's okay.
Uh,
But Auntie, what?
is she your sidekick this morning?
No. She's still doing her thing. That's why she's not even here. She wasn't going to be here until after she saw you.
Oh,
At least that's my understanding. We'll see.
okay. All right. Well, I'm still in my jammies, so I don't know what time she's planning.
I'm up. I took a shower, fixed my hair, got my makeup on. I look nice today.
I see you. I see.
Oh, did you see this? So tomorrow I'm starting to kick the habit of the vapes. I got my whole package. It's got 56 packages in it. It's got 28 so
I saw that.
So step 1, it's got 14 for step 2 and 14 for step 3. So it looks like in 2 months I should be completely off the vape if everything goes well.
Yeah, but you won't be off the nicotine because
it steps me down all the way.
Your daily dose.
Yeah, but
and don't forget, the last time you did it, the first stage was too strong.
Now you guys see how counterproductive moms can be.
Well, no, I'm warning you.
Mom, I've been doing this for a while. Let's stay positive. Let's stay positive.
I am. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, we're gonna leave on that note.
But I'm your mother.
I know. You should be supporting this, not telling you how hard it's gonna be. Lord have mercy. Like we already know how hard it's gonna be. Do you not remember me going from the cigarettes to the vape? I was a monster. I was like, ah.
Well, all right. Now, what else was I going to talk about? We got Koberger. Oh, what is wrong with Don Wells? He can't keep his mouth shut. Now, he was on somebody's chat room the other night saying, oh, yeah, the day before, June 14th, I let Summer go up on the roof and run around. She asked if she could go up on the roof.
Come on, Mom. Okay. Now, the roof thing, you've got no room to talk. None. Angela and I snuck out of our bedroom window and lived on the roof in the middle of the night watching the stars.
But I had no idea you did that until I caught you. I couldn't find you. And then I saw the bathroom window open and the screen was missing. I'm like, oh, there you both were out there laying down on the roof, looking up at the stars.
So the whole roof thing in the construction world, I'm sorry. I've done it with my father. It's not something that I would be freaking out about. Kids from a construction family typically know how to walk a roof. I mean, yeah, think about it, Mom. I was up there at 9 years old, helping hammer a roof together.
But that brings a thought to us all of what could have happened.
Yeah, well, potentially. I think, when it comes to the wells, everybody's like, why aren't you talking about the wells? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Well, there's a few reasons. First of all, I advocate for summer wells, but here's the issue. I really think, and I've been talking to other creators about it, we really need to be, in my opinion, pushing Tennessee, the department, the TBI, Hawkins County, to finally acknowledge that Summer Wells is deceased. If once Summer Wells is identified as deceased, as a deceased person, then the investigation can move forward. They're at a standstill until Summer Wells. There's no complaining. There's no protesting. There's nothing we're going to be able to do until the day that they finally say that Summer Wells is not on this earth. And that is when this case will pick back up. And if any creators out there and you want to collaborate on that, I've got some ideas, but we are going to have to start pushing very, very hard for the state of Tennessee to identify Summer Wells as deceased.
Well, here's another thought for you. I was listening to News Nation, and it wasn't Brian Enton, it was a gal. And they were talking about the update on Summer Wells. You realize one of the main reasons they're not pursuing this legally to start a trial, that county is bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the money for a trial.
But that's not the community's fault. That's when you need to start telling. That's when you tell TBI we don't have the resources.
Overpaid salaries.
No, you don't adjust the salaries. You got to have good people in. That's the wrong. But what they need to do when these small communities, these small counties cannot afford these types of cases, that's when they send them out. They have TBI. Turn this over to TBI. Let them run this case. It takes the resources from Hawkins County, puts it to the state, and we can get justice for baby Summer Wells. Something's got to be happening here, but keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity, and I refuse to get into that. And we are all doing the same exact thing when it comes to her stuff. We're promoting Don Wells to talk about himself and to collect money so he can use it for his drugs and his alcohol. Meanwhile, leaving all of his kids, every single one of them. We've had 4 kids prior to these 4 kids. And now we have a total of 8 children. 3 have been fully removed from their custody over the last few decades. 1 is missing. There's been umpteen, years, decades of abuse from both of these adults, these parents, and people are supporting them while they're leaving their boys behind and moving to a different state. People that do that have no respect for themselves. They have no respect for the victims. They have no respect for the children. They have no respect for anything. All they are looking for is putting his face up on there so they can get their clicks and their views. And that's something that I refuse to get into. He's a disgusting man. She's a disgusting woman. They need to identify Summer dead and arrest him.
I'm just.
Oh, no, I know. I know.
I don't give. My life at this
I need to go
point
put some more hairspray in my hair.
Too important to give up. 30 minutes to these third-rate YouTubers. But what I wanted to say is it's he and Candace stayed off of YouTube because the judge had cited them. You will never get the kids if you continue to go on YouTube. That was one of the provisions. Stay off of YouTube. Do all the things that you're required to do. We'll reevaluate your custody. Well, as soon as he found out from the child services, because ABC, EFG, whatever, the kids sent the message they don't ever want to come back.
Of course not. They finally have food. They finally have, a home cooked. These kids. A clean house,
real beds to sleep in.
Let's think about it though, Ma.
To eat off of,
but let's think about it. They have never had a home cooked meal.
I know.
And real mashed potatoes.
Pizza almost every day. The only semblance to a meal was the free lunch they probably got at school. But since they heard that the kids do not want to come back, because the oldest one will be 14 soon, they've just gone hog wild on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get them off.
Because they don't care. They never cared.
They don't care. This is. Know what happened to your the banner?
The banner from the last time we heard was still up.
No, it's on their roof.
They took it down and put our banner on the roof. Well, hey, whatever. They've never looked for that child. They never cared about, because parents that don't look at the West case, look at Letitia Stout, look at all these people that have missing children that were clearly dead and murdered. They never went out and looked for their child. They never participated in any memorials type of services. Ordered search parties. I think about all the people like Paola Miranda's family. They had hundreds of people and coordinated many search parties despite law enforcement to find their loved one. The Wests didn't. The Letitia Stout didn't. The Wells didn't. So, I mean, it is a behavior, a pattern that you do see in these parents that are guilty of crimes against their children. It is a pattern that you see. And if you know what you're looking for, it hits you in your face every time you talk to them, every time you see them, every time you see them engage with media, anytime you see them engage with other creators, you know that their behavior is not that of somebody missing a child.
Well, I won't name names, but as I was growing up in Mayaca and I went to high school, one of my teachers at the school, high school, lived in Mayaca too.
Mm-hmm.
And he was also a Sunday school teacher at our church and a deacon. And right after I got married and moved away, he adopted 2 girls. He and his wife adopted 2 girls. And when I eventually got into the dental field and worked for your favorite dentist, they started coming to our practice.
Mm-hmm.
And he always had a Bible in his hand. And he always insisted on sitting at the chair side. Both girls, we had a surgery bay with 6 chairs. You remember how it was set up.
Mm-hmm.
And we could seat 6 patients at once. He would not allow both the girls to be seated because he could not sit next to each one of them. So we had to take one and then seat the next one. And they were very frail, very skinny. They dressed them, good Lord. In the heat of the summer, they wore long sleeves, long dresses, just like Amish. And these folks were not Amish.
Mm-hmm.
So it was about, oh gosh, during the time I worked for your favorite dentist, it came out that this man and his wife put those girls in dog cages at night.
All right, hold on. We got to be careful what we say on here.
Well,
but cages, yeah.
Yeah, pet cages. And when they went out to investigate them, it was horrific. Horrific. So, bye-bye to them.
Aww.
It was a shock, I'll tell you what. The second biggest shock to Mayaca, outside of the 49ers, was this situation.
Right, and I can only imagine. Well, Mom, I've got things that are going on today, so I've got to have a 2-hour live somewhere.
Just to say, we never know how many people communicate with you, and you don't pick up on the signals.
Oh yeah, and I think that was the sentiments of this story that ZA sent over to me. Was this 10-year-old boy lived in this beautiful area, and it was just something that you didn't expect in that area. And
but that's the way that little Hernandez boy was treated.
Mm-hmm.
He was like severely starved. He was put in that box at night. That's horrible, horrible, horrible. Okay, I'll let you go.
All right, Mom, I love you. Have a great day and enjoy your time with Auntie.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Yeah, Mama needs to be careful with those names. Mama needs to be careful with those names because we've got people that stalk this channel and stalk me physically and online. So you got to be careful what you say online. And I try to very, very hard to keep my family out because, they constantly are trying to say that we do these things, which we never do, which is a complete and utter lie, a fabrication at the best. And, I just don't want anything happening to my family. I'm already dealing with a lot. We're already taking action on it. And I just want to make sure that my family is not tortured by these animals here on YouTube. And they are animals. Animals with no conscience, no soul, and no morals. So I'm going to go ahead because we're on a tight schedule today. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the videos first. I'm trying to decide whether to do the arraignment first, which the arraignment really, well, the crux of this is about the U.S. Supreme Court. So we'll do the second video first because it's 26 minutes, and I think hopefully we'll have time for everything, but I can't guarantee that. Put this up. Oh, and then just congratulations. I should have realized, but congratulations to all the mommies and daddies that are, why can't I get the comments off? It's odd. Let me just do this. There we go. Okay. It wouldn't let me take the comment off for some reason. So we're going to go to this one first. I've got this day is jam packed all day for me. So we've got like 2.5 hours that we can divulge to this, and this is going to be 26 minutes. So I may have to do another live later tonight to finish up this live, to be honest with you, but we'll see. Go ahead and put this up.
Yeah, let's go off the record until we can fix this.
They were having some major technical difficulties with the Zoom. The people on the Zoom call, you couldn't hear them speaking. And the judge, I think there was that. They're on Zoom. You have the right to like mute all the people coming in, and they can't unmute themselves. And you have to unmute them in order for them to speak. And I think that might have been the situation here. And then what's wrong with this thing? This is driving me nuts.
Can you say something, Mr. Perone? We're off the record. Echo now. Knowing that
those issues before the IOC coalition weigh in on as well. We would need to submit a separate brief on that, but we can do that in the week of the 26th. The 26th itself, I'm not available, but the rest of the week would work.
excellent. And I'll tell you, the reason that I'm bringing up cameras in the courtroom is because if I address that issue, and I haven't let you all know that that might be an issue, then I'm going to get a lot of grief for not allowing you to brief that issue. So that's why I'm giving you an advance notice on that. How do you feel about the afternoon of June 27? Given what's happening just quite recently, we might want to do that in person. I'm willing to do it remotely, but then we have to, there are a lot of different interests and different people who want to weigh in on that, so it might be better to be in person. But does that work for you? Say starting at 1:30, June 27th, Mr. Perone?
Yes, Your Honor, that works for me. And Ms. Olson and myself will both come in person. We would have been there today in person, but we found out about the in-person option on Friday, so I apologize for using Zoom today, but we can certainly be there in person. If the court's anticipating hearing from witnesses that day and hold an evidentiary hearing, there may be some witnesses that would want to appear via Zoom if that's okay with the court. But I'm not sure if that's even something you're contemplating. I'm just flagging it in case you are.
Well, let me put it this way. It's your motion and others' motions. And one of the complaints that I've seen in the briefing is that there's no evidence in the case supporting any of it. You know, we're all kind of moving forward on supposition, I guess. And some of it is obvious, but I think that would be wise. I suppose you could just file declarations, and that's what's been doing, how that's been going. I might, if we're going to have a lot of testimony, I might want to move this back to 10 a.m. just to make sure that we have enough time to get things finished that day. Would that work for you?
Yeah, so our position on the evidentiary issue is your summary was correct, that we don't believe that there is an adequate factual record at this point. Given that it is our motion and it's based on the record that existed when the order was issued, procedurally, I'm not really sure there is an opportunity for additional evidence to be put forth. I only brought that up because I saw in Mr. Koberger's opposition to our motion for reconsideration that there was a mention of an expert witness. If that evidence was going to come forward or other evidence.
I'm still curious. Maybe we should do a poll. I'm not sure. Maybe a show of hands or ones. But what evidence can they possibly show that's going to show that Brian Koberger is getting an unfair trial? Because in all fairness, for me, and in my opinion, and excuse me, but in my opinion, I feel like this is a double-edged sword. Like you're creating such a vacuum of information that it's forcing people to make up stuff in order to cover this case. And I see that. That's why we're seeing a lot of these things, like with the Ashley Banfield. They have to cover something, and they've got nothing. And now they're having these wild, unnamed sources, and all of a sudden they have groundbreaking. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Allergies. They have this groundbreaking information that now they found in a box in the glove compartment, IDs that belong to the victims in this case. And then we have Dateline that contradicts that statement. And thank you guys, contradicts that statement. And then says, oh, by the way, it was in a latex glove hidden inside the house. And it was of two females, but it wasn't of the victims. A source close to the investigation has told me, well, which is it? Because both of you guys have some of these amazing sources, right? I mean, it did dominate the airways for at least a week about these IDs when Ashley Banfield broke it. Now we have Dateline breaking something that contradicts Ashley. So this is and these are well-known talking heads that we've all trusted. And now we get two totally different statements with unverified, unnamed sources. So is it really? Is this non-dissemination order really tampering down on the misinformation? I'm just curious. I'm curious. Is this non-dissemination order having the intended effect? And I have to think it's not. I start training for new promotion. Good job, Jennifer. We're really proud of you. I saw the text come in and I gave you a shout out yesterday on this channel. So you're hearing Shannon Gray, and we're not going to go through a whole bunch of this, but you're going to hear Shannon Gray talking about how his needs for his clients are much different than the needs of the Associated Press. His needs are he just wants to be able to talk to, the press on behalf of his clients. That's really what he wants to do. He just wants to talk to the press on behalf of his clients. And he can't. Because of that non-dissemination order. Me personally, him being an attorney in that area, he doesn't want to have to fight in court those types of things. But he could basically be like me and say, it's a unenforceable non-dissemination order, and I'm going to represent my clients as I see fit. This is within the guidelines that are being promoted here, which have already have a whole class and a whole book on it. So we don't really need this order. I mean, everything in that order is something that's already in something that these attorneys are required to follow as is. So you don't need an order to reaffirm what these attorneys already know and already have directive from. So it just doesn't make sense. And so the needs of the Gonzalez family, again, are much different than the needs of the media. They just want to be able to speak about the case. This is what I think is happening is, when you get to this point, you don't want me, and I'm taking the place of Steve Gonzalez, I don't want to say something that could legally put me in legal jeopardy. I'd rather hire an attorney, represent me, get the information that I want out in a legal way that makes sure that I'm clean from possible legal jeopardy, civil or criminal legal jeopardy. That's why we hire attorneys. And this court has literally prevented the Gonzalez having representation in this matter. Like, that is what this order has done. It has pulled representation. You hire attorneys to represent you so you don't make mistakes, including in going in front of the media and speaking what you want spoken to the media. You know what I'm saying? That is, and this order has literally prevented the Gonzalez family from having representation. How is that fair? How is that fair? How can you say that Koberger, his rights supersede somebody else's? It doesn't. And that's the problem here. And it further, let's just keep going because hold on, let me just keep going here. I want to get past all this where they're talking to, because it's just Shannon Gray, and his needs are much different. I think he expresses that. Let's just see.
I'm thinking about maybe June 9th would be the soonest.
Okay, so we passed.
Order. They have a lot of constitutional different issues that we have. I have some issues that I think are very separate. So I would request.
So that's Shannon. That's Shannon Gray
much
saying
sooner.
His
I think the court's
issues
aware
are
I
much
filed this
different.
motion in February on this case, and there was a massive delay based on the fact that previous Judge Marshall, was waiting for the Supreme Court to get some clarification.
And you do hear the judge get a little frustrated. It's like, yeah, because they went right straight to the Supreme Court and it delayed. And in all fairness, I took that as almost a snooty comment at first. I really did. And then I after watching this, I realized, he was right. It did delay the process because, them going to the Supreme Court, the lower court erred on the side of caution and decided to withhold ruling on the matter until they got the opinion from the Supreme Court, which the opinion from the Supreme Court, I still stand that it was pretty scathing in nature to the lower court. And I hope they take it seriously because like I profess this a lot. There's not going to be any winners going to the Supreme Court. Yes, that the non-dissemination order will most likely have to be either removed or modified heavily if it goes to the Supreme Court. But for the in perpetuity, was that beneficial to the state of Idaho? And I just don't believe it is. I really don't. I think that it's going to make judges' jobs harder in the future if they push this into the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court rules on it. And I really want this to just be resolved where all parties can agree and this be a negotiation instead of this having to move up to the higher courts. I am a true believer that, we should be handling a lot of this stuff outside of the Supreme Court. Once the Supreme Court rules on the matter, it takes a lot of discretion away from judges. And this is a tool that I believe is very important in the judicial process, even though I complain about it a lot. I complain about it a lot when it's being used inappropriately like it is here. But in the grand scheme of things, I come from a legal background. I understand how important this stuff is. I understand the importance of a fair and impartial trial and jury. It is the cornerstone and the bedrock of our judicial process. But I'm also one of those people that believe that all of our laws, none is superior, none is supreme, and they have to be weighed heavily. And I felt like in this matter, the court is wagging their finger at the media saying, you're only looking at the First Amendment right. But I, from an outside looking in, is wagging my finger back at the court and saying, but you're only looking at the Sixth Amendment right. And so that argument can be said because this was waged by the courts, not by the media. And that order is so overly broad and vague and unduly burdensome, and there are less restrictive measures that the court has to entertain before putting an order like this, which they failed to do. And that is the problem that I have. And I think that's the problem that the Associated Press has as well, related to this particular matter. So let's keep going. I'm going to stop at a certain point because they go into the motion to compel, but there's going to be some argument and some chastising. The judge chastises the media and the media's attorney. Let's take a look.
Regarding the AP's motion that she filed with the Supreme Court. So I'm ready to go when the court's ready to go, but I think our issues are very, very different than that of the AP's motion on this case. So I would request a hearing much sooner I can do it by the end of this week.
All right. Well, and I recognize this was all pretty.
And I further want to state that Shannon Gray is very good. I like his style. I like his demeanor. And not only that, but he pushed this up. They were not going to read this until I think it was June 27th or something like that, maybe July something. I can't remember. Because of his persistence in a very professional way. Shannon Gray, professional. God bless you. Thank you for representing the Gonzalez. I almost want to send his office pizza and a thank you letter on behalf of us for all the work he's done. But he just pushed even the Associated Press's hearing from the 27th up to June 9th because they changed it where they're going to be seeing, he's going to be heard, I think, at 9:30 or 10:30. I can't remember. But they put the Associated Presses at 1:30. 1:30. They weren't going to do this until June, the end of June. And because of his due diligence, his persistence, his professionalism, he was able not only to push his case up sooner, but also the Associated Press. So good job to Shannon Gray. I'm really thankful. I'm really, I do believe things happen for a reason, and there's a reason why the Gonzalez found this attorney, and he seems very very good in his job, and he's been he argued very, very well yesterday. I was hearing him for the first time very well, and I almost want to send. I probably will. Maybe we'll call his office and just see how many people are there, and maybe we will send them some pizza or something nice. If it's a smaller office, maybe we'll buy them a better lunch. But I'll see what we can do this week. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Because I really do, and it's just, even though I know he's being paid from the Gonzalez, I'm sure he's discounting their fee for the situation, and anything that we can do to promote this kind of work and stuff, we would love to. So I'll see what we can do about reaching out to Shannon's office, Mr. Gray's office, and ordering him possibly maybe lunch if they're willing to accept it. So it's just just our token of saying thank you for doing such a good job and representing the Gonzalez family, which it has undoubtedly just rocked this whole community and these families to their core. I can't imagine. But I have, I always sit in awe when I see the Gonzalez family and that they're shattered to pieces. That family is just broken inside and outside because they lost this shining light of their family. And just to see them standing in solidarity and so strong in the midst of this, just shattering a feeling that many of us hopefully never understand or never get to experience, hopefully. And just seeing them fighting and just getting up there every day and just putting on their war faces and, wanting justice for their daughter. It's amazing. We don't know how this is affecting, they're standing strong in front of the cameras. We don't know how this is affecting them in their behind the camera life. So we just want to always pray for these families, not just the Gonzalez family. Maddie Mogan's family lost their only daughter. Xana Kernodle's family already had a lot of problems, and they lost their daughter. And from my understanding, I think she may have been maybe the first one that went to college, potentially. And then you got Ethan Chapin, which is the oldest of three triplets, and they've lost their funny guy and their best friend. And just the immense carnage that Brian did to this community and these people. And not only that, look at all the other stuff that wasn't expected. The breakdown on Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk. We can't even imagine mentally what they've had to go through because of this. I will always question, and I know I harshly question the 8-hour window, which it's upsetting to me. I will be honest with you. It's upsetting to me, and I don't understand. And I think my frustration is I want to understand. I think we all want to understand. We all, in the back of our mind, feel like there is a plausible explanation for this, but lack of that plausible explanation, it kind of frustrates us, and in some cases, angers us a little bit. We know that due to the nature of the wounds of these of the victims, that the chances of their survival were very low. But the bottom line is I just watched somebody that had a stroke. He had 3% chance to live. He was basically, unalived, a vegetable, right? I just watched this the other day. And he had a 3% chance of survival, and he survived. So just because their chances of survival are low doesn't mean it's impossible. But when you have such a long time from the attack to the time it was reported, it takes that whole thing away. And I never want to blame the girls and say that because of their actions they died. We'll question it. Could they have lived had the actions been differently? But definitely not condemning them. I am condemning the action of why friends were called over there as opposed to police. There's a lot of things that we don't understand. And again, we want to understand them. We want to understand them. So I can't imagine what they're going through. And not only that, but even Dylan Mortensen, she's got to live with that decision. She probably went through the whole line of shoulda, woulda, couldas, right? So I don't know. So let's listen to this.
Short notice for everybody. And I don't know if, let me go to Mr. Rudley and then Mr. Logsdon, because
I do too,
they're
Caroline.
going to weigh in on that motion as well, I'm assuming. I'm thinking about maybe June 9th would be the soonest I could do this, but let me go to you, Mr. Logsdon.
Your Honor, we'd be ready to go and would expect to put on an evidentiary presentation that week of the 26th. To the extent that Mr. Gray wants to have his motion heard ahead of time, and just based on what I've read in it, I mean, obviously, if the court were
good perspective, Ali.
Into the mic, I guess.
Sorry. Obviously, if the court were to agree with some of the things that he says and winds up amending the order, that could change everything for everybody else. So to some extent, I think it actually is probably better to do them all at the same time, so the court isn't in piecemeal changing what we're all arguing about. But I would be ready for the 9th if the court chose to do it that way.
No judge likes to do things piecemeal. But I also understand that Mr. Gray and his clients have been waiting for a long time now. It's not anybody's fault. It's just how.
And see, that's this was one of the defining things whenever I was watching this whole hearing, that I realized that this judge, when we were hearing the text message, like the tweets that were coming in, we didn't hear the tone of his voice, and it changes. Like, you can write something and it's like, where are you? All right, where are you? There's different tones that you can't see. So when we were hearing this, this is a judge that I like to hear, where they're actually saying, hey, this party has been waiting a significant amount of time, and it's nobody's fault. We had this, so he seems like he is being fair. So my opinion yesterday from the tweets, and my opinion actually seeing what truly took place in this court, has changed my opinion about this judge. I'm still upset because he's still the person that's behind all this non-dissemination stuff, that just doesn't have. He's just, in my opinion, doing it the wrong way. Just kind of like the media going straight to the Supreme Court did it the wrong way. I feel that is being done by this court as well. I think that there's two parts. I think both are partially wrong in their arguments, is what I'm saying. I'm going to take the middle ground here because I understand both sides of the argument, but I feel like the courts are way this way and the media is way this way, and we need to bring them here so we can come up to an agreement, in addition to considering the Gonzalez needs as well. So just giving you my thoughts on this matter as we're discussing them. It's easier to stop it and discuss it than to go back.
Because the Associated Press et al. Went straight to the Supreme Court in February, early.
So you can see that the judge is a little frustrated that they went directly to the Supreme Court as opposed to dealing with the lower court in these orders. And I don't think that the courts were expecting that. I think that they thought when they put these in order, or put these orders in place, that there would be some kind of legal challenge, but I don't think they expected them to catapult over the lower courts directly to the Supreme Court. And in some cases, they would have been just fine doing so, but it was the urgency factor. The urgency was not there. That was the thing that kicked them out of the Supreme Court. They had enough time to address this in the lower court, and they chose to be overzealous and direct to the Supreme Court because they knew they would have the most favorable result in the Supreme Court. And I believe that they will have a much favorable, the media will have much favorable results, excuse me, in the Supreme Court.
February, and that would trigger a delay, which it did.
Good morning, Subsis. Big virtual hug to you, honey.
Important, I think, for Judge Marshall to get the direction from the Idaho Supreme Court before we start, chipping away at each order. I don't know if would you be. I mean, I'm okay setting it for June 9th, Mr. Gray, but you may have some testimony happening. You may want to wait until you hear what everybody else is saying. It's likely that there's going to.
I disagree with this. When you have an argument, a legal argument, in some strategies, it would be prudent for them to wait to hear what was said. But I think after 4 or 5 months of trying to get this modified, I think they're over it. I think they want to plead their case at this point and just want to have a ruling. And I think that's why they decided to put the Gonzalez earlier than the Associated Press. They could have done it just the opposite if that was the case. The judge could have said, okay, well, in best practices, we'll take the Associated Press first so you can hear their arguments, and then you can decide how you're going to argue later. But when he scheduled this, he ended up putting them earlier and the media, the press's stuff later. So
be some adjustments, you might say, or clarifying in the order. Partly in my reading of the Supreme Court's decision, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but there were some hints maybe of what the trial court might want to consider. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Gray.
I was going to say, since this is your gag order now, this non-dissemination order, Your Honor, and in reading my motion, if the court does want to consider making some of the modifications that might have been suggested in my motion.
So he's basically saying, Your Honor, this is your order. Like you, and let me just let him finish, but let me go on.
Maybe my motion may end up being moot. I think some of my modifications and or clarifications to the non-dissemination order are fairly minor, but allows, and I think the Supreme Court did give some guidance, which I think added weight to my arguments and my motion.
It did.
So it's not above the court to take a look at my motion as well as any other motions that have been submitted to the court and modify the non-dissemination order, allowing for some of the issues that I discussed in my motion, and then you would only have the AP who are attacking, I think, the gag order as a whole, the non-dissemination order as a whole. I'm just addressing a couple of clarifications and amendments that would allow myself as an attorney to speak on behalf of my clients.
That is pretty bad. You've got an order where an attorney can't even speak on behalf of his own client. To me, that is just disgust. I mean, it's just bad. It's just bad. I'm sorry. You've got a paid attorney that can't even represent his own client. I want to let that sink in. That this current non-dissemination order is preventing an attorney from representing his own clients. That is just, I'm just in awe. I'm just in shock and awe.
Regarding the non-dissemination order, and I think it's your order now, so you're more than apt to be able to go and make those changes, and then we wouldn't have an issue with the non-dissemination order at all. So I don't think that's, so obviously the 9th, I'd like to keep the 9th because my issues are very small and narrow regarding that non-dissemination order. But if you were to make changes to those ahead of time that I was able to review and it was acceptable, I would withdraw my motion, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Grant.
Thank you.
Well, it would be highly unlikely for me to change the order before I hear from counsel.
Even though you have an idea from the Supreme Court, of what you can and can't do, you're still not willing to entertain it.
Because I don't want to, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. I only want to do this once. And I'm happy to set it for June 9th, maybe 10:30. Does that work for you?
That does, Your Honor.
10:30.
Okay.
On the 9th.
Does that work for you, Mr. Rudley?
Yes, Your Honor, it does.
Okay. Mr. Logston?
Make it work, Judge.
Okay. Let's do that in person. Okay. So now we have the June 9th at 10:30. We also have the Associated Press et al. On June 27th at 1:30. I assume that works for you, Mr. Rudley?
It does, Your Honor.
Okay.
So what you're hearing here is they're putting together the notice of hearing and checking people's calendars and schedules. And so they're going to actually have several different things that are going to be addressed on the 9th. So on the 9th, they're going to be addressing the modifications to the non-dissemination order from the Gonzalez family, and that's at 10:30. They've also are going to schedule the Associated Press's arguments on removal of the non-dissemination order at 1:30. Lastly, they're going to also be addressing cameras in the courtroom for future proceedings. And I'm hoping that they allow them. I'm hoping that not only do they allow them, but that they have a pooled photographer and a pooled camera person or two pooled camera persons set up strategically to get several different angles. And I hope that those are the pooled pooled camera people inside the courtroom so we can at least see. I don't like, again, my position is, what does it matter whether if there's a public trial open to the public, what does it matter how I preview that public trial? Whether it be in person, on the telephone, virtually, digitally, or otherwise. what does it matter? That's my problem, is really, what does it matter? It's a public trial. We've got a lot more technology, and our courts have always embraced technology, from the newspaper to telephone to teletype to TV, and now to computers. They have always modified to adjust to the technology and bringing the courts to the public, the public court, right? The people's court, right? So I've never understood that need to control. I mean, you've got enough good jury instructions, for any jurors. You're going to be doing voir dire to make sure that you're impaneling an impartial jury. You're going to be providing them good jury instructions. We saw the video that they have to watch when they're becoming a juror for a case, along with pamphlets and booklets and stuff to read to talk to them about what they're going to be experiencing as a jury and jurors. So I feel like, that the courts are so one-sided in this fair trial. They're not entertaining their violation of people's First Amendment constitutional rights. And I feel like the reason why the media is attacking that First Amendment, because they're not, I don't feel, and I feel this, I don't feel the courts are, while they're pointing the finger and saying, you're not looking at the Sixth Amendment, I feel like they're not looking at the First Amendment. And there is, as I've always maintained, a happy balance between the both. So let's just keep listening, and then we'll move on to the video from yesterday with my receipts, my gloating.
Yes, Mr. Corona.
Yeah, I apologize. I may have misunderstood what you said earlier. I was understanding that the week of June 26th was when the court was first available, but if the court is available to hear our motion earlier, we would be available on June 9th as well. I know that our most recent motion is pending more recently, but obviously we've been challenging this since February as well. It's our position that the non-dissemination order violates the Associated Press and Media Coalition's First Amendment rights. Those constitutional violations are irreparable, so we would like our motions to be heard as soon as possible as well. If I suggested otherwise by agreeing to the week of the 26th, that was simply because I misunderstood that was when the court was first available.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Only one thing I'll say about that. Irreparable harm goes both ways. And so I was a little bit troubled by that claim without considering the Sixth Amendment considerations. I mean, this is a balancing. The law is clear on this. Okay, it's a balancing test.
Yeah, and we said that.
When your client says that it's arguing it as the First Amendment is absolute, is also troubling. So I would suggest that maybe the Associated Press needs to tone it down, just ratchet down a little bit. Because some of the
So that was what, when we heard this statement that they needed to ratchet down, we were like, we didn't hear what was going on in the courthouse. This is where it kind of frustrated me. And it was like yesterday, oh, happy. Is it Mama Llama's birthday? Is Mama Llama in the house? If it is, happy belated birthday, love. Nice to see you. I haven't seen you yet in the chat, but I see people talking. So, but, and hearing him and how he was saying, you guys need to ratchet down, it was much different than what I anticipated or what I was thinking and theorizing in my head at the time. But I understand his position that, their statements have been only related to the First Amendment issue, but that's the only issue that's affecting them. I think that the courts have made it abundantly clear that the Sixth Amendment, in their opinion, is supreme to the First. And they're saying, wait a minute, no, it's not. And we do agree with the judge that it is a balancing act. He has to balance this. And we have said that at length here on the Bullhorn Betty channel, that this is a balancing act, but right now it's one-sided. And it's one-sided by the courts, not one-sided by the Associated Press. They're just stating what they have a problem with. And it's because that the courts went so scorched earth on this fair trial process without entertaining the less restrictive measures to achieve what they need to achieve, that, the problem here lies with the fact that we're not able to properly provide news or information to our audiences. And I'm sorry, but that is an assault on the First Amendment. And it's an assault on the First Amendment by this very court, in my opinion, no matter how I feel about this judge. To the contrary, I think this judge, I'm looking at his demeanor, I'm looking at his professionalism. And oh, thank you, Mama Llama. I missed you too, honey bunny. We've been asking about you every day. Somebody's been like, hey, have you seen Mama Llama? But seeing this judge, it makes me feel a little better now that I see him in action. I wasn't feeling this good with Megan Marshall, to be honest with you. So seeing him and him changing my mind by this video is at least, closing a worry box for me. It's closing a worry box for me.
The arguments, including the first line in the motion to
oh, he did not like this first line. Like it bothered this judge. He's like, I want you to listen to this. He's going to read it.
Intervene says that the Supreme Court held a certain thing, that I do not think that is what the court held.
They didn't hold it. They didn't uphold this, that there is a duty to intervene. It says that it is well received, basically, for media to intervene when it feels that its First Amendment rights are being violated. That's what it said. Now, it didn't give them a guarantee that they could. It's just that they basically said that, lower courts have entertained this process, and there's no reason for them not to allow you to intervene for limited reasons. I do kind of think in part it was upheld by the Supreme Court. I mean, it was in their opinion, and they did thoroughly explain it. So I'm kind of, but in the legal sense, did they uphold it? I don't think they did. And he's looking at it from the legal sense.
And you know the difference in a holding of an appellate court. So I just felt obligated to help you out a little bit in terms of what the Associated Press is asking for.
So I mean, so you see why my theory and demeanor changed about this judge, because you're seeing him. He's trying to explain things. He's trying to help them. He's trying to make it so he wants everybody to understand, and I think it's going to be important for us here, especially in social media, to be responsible in reporting. You can't go off with wild accusations that incite your base or make them want to attack witnesses or call them, I don't even want it. I don't even want to know. All I can say is that we here on social media, and I've always tried very hard. We've investigated. We've been spot on these cases. I don't care what anybody on YouTube say. We were responsible when we do this. And even in Chatham County, we had every single right after 2 weeks of watching a woman that was on double probation that couldn't pass a urinalysis sit out after she was the prime suspect in a 20-month. We had every right to peacefully protest, which we did. Other people sent people out there to cause a disruption. So it wasn't us that had that sign put up there in front of that house. It was the chaos that they brought in that forced that sign to be put up at the house. So no, Bullhorn Betty, Dolly Vision, that was not from us. That was from the hate channels and the effery that they did, paying somebody to come out there to distract, paying a clown to come out there and sit. These are things that they did that caused this to happen. This wasn't what we were doing was lawful and legal. It's what they chose to do to counter our lawful rights that become the legal issue here. You know, and I feel that this judge is being fair, you know, but I still think that it is our duty here on social media, especially for the people that don't subscribe to, you know, proper journalism, ethics, and otherwise. I think that they should be taking this in, you know, responsibility and understanding that we're at a trial stage. You just can't flagrantly and wildly come up with claims that are to misinform your audience or to get that click and view. It's really upon us to make sure that the information that's coming out is accurate, as accurate as possible. Now, I'm not saying don't speculate on the facts, but definitely give the foundation of facts and explain how you're getting to your opinion. I think is reasonable and responsible. I don't think that the media is asking for anything that they're not due. That's it. You know, that they're not due under the law. I think that's where this whole issue is coming from, is that they are being jaded by the courts, and we've watched it, and it's not that it's not happening. We absolutely, without a doubt, with specificity, know that this court is doing it. It does seem like this judge is taking this seriously. He's willing to take a whole day, June 9th, to hear arguments about this very issue. This is a serious issue. We're at the end of May. So, you know, in a couple weeks, hopefully we'll be able to get back to work. You know, this has hindered not just mainstream media. This has hindered a lot of channels that really want information to come out. We can't even use, right now, we can't even use mainstream media's assessments, any information that they're deriving because of these unnamed sources that aren't corroborated. We're not going to go down that hole. There's many people like me on YouTube that aren't willing to go down that rabbit hole just because they're mainstream media. We want stuff that's corroborated. We want stuff that we can corroborate. We want to make sure that the information that we're providing, that we're not being part of the problem, that we're providing the accurate and factual information, which we have. So these are the issues that I see with this. But now that we're kind of here, let's listen to, he already wagged his finger at them and said, you know, I think what he wanted to see them addressing the Sixth Amendment in their pleadings. And they haven't been addressing the Sixth Amendment in their pleadings. They haven't been addressing how, you know, the Balancing Act works and stuff like that. I've read their pleadings, and they have been, of course, for the Associated Press, have been one-sided to the facts of the First Amendment violations, and not really. And I could agree with the judge that they haven't really been addressing the fairness of the Sixth Amendment and how they both are equal. Not one's not supreme or superior to the other, and that they're equal. And how do we decide what is equal? And in my opinion, the best way to do it is limit the most, you know, like put a gag order on the stuff you can't just blanketly put a gag order on everything. You just can't do it. It's not, you just can't do it. And that's what they're doing here. You just can't do it. Non-dissemination orders and stuff like that are supposed to be limited in scope. This is not. And it's not limited in time either. You can't have it. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. There's going to be, I do, without a doubt, 100%. I will, and I'm never usually 100% about anything, but I am going to be 100% about this. And that is, this non-dissemination order is going to be modified. Somehow, some way, it will be modified. I'm not sure what that's going to look like because I don't know the appetite of this court. I don't know the appetite of this judge. But I can tell you it will be 100%, hands down, it will be modified. To what degree, I don't know. I would like to see it to be a more fair and balanced order that weighs both the First Amendment issues with the Sixth Amendment issues. But I want it to be fair and balanced. I don't want it being overly broad, unduly burdensome, and vague. and where there is clear, less restrictive means to achieve the same result. That is the legal arguments that appear in this case that I can see. So we're going to go to our gloating. We're going to go to our gloating. Yes, we are going to gloat. We are going to gloat. We're going to go back to the yesterday's hearing. And I'm going to mute it because it's loud. Let me turn my music down. Let me turn the volume down a little bit. Hold on a second. But let's see. Where was I? Oh yeah, and I got to show this again because we hear about Jennifer Coffindoffer all the time, and she gets hate on too. I've heard some hate. Like I was reading something and it was just horrible. They're like, everything she says, da, 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 da. And it's like, dude, she's giving you her analysis from an FBI perspective. Like, I don't know what you want from her, right? But anyways, oh, I didn't pause it. So anyways, this is the funny of Jennifer Coffindoffer, and I just have to show this to you. For so fun. I mean, seriously, so fun. Look at this. She's pulling a Papa Roger. I love it. It's so funny. Let's see if I can get it. Instead of Papa Rogers, don't be all jealous now. Don't be all jealous. But Jennifer's got her thumbnail now. I'm sorry. It's funny. You see, because it just every FBI agent I know, and I do know a few. I even know somebody from that's retired CIA, and so it's funny because they're so square, they're so dry, they're so overly analytical. Like I love them. I don't know if they watch me or not, but I have a lot of retired law enforcement from all different walks and all different I don't know, divisions and different levels and whatnot. And so they're all just like really dry and really, really square, like just square, right? And so Jennifer, she seems very she's discernment, she's very tenacious. She goes on and talks about these cases and stuff like that, but you don't really get to see the fun side of her. You get to see the FBI side of her, the FBI profile side of her, or whatever, FBI, the square, right? So for her to have a little fun with it, I have to be honest with you, it kind of put a little pep in my step because, it was just funny. Like, I just thought this was pretty comical. So God bless you, Jennifer. Keep doing you. So let me see if I can, now I gotta turn it on because I gotta find out where I'm at. And delay will be not. And I think that's odd. And have literally booked right next to him on a particular thing.
Oh, here we go.
He's independent, just like we all are. We're all independent and doing our own stories, but we were all there collectively. That makes sense. So here is one of them right here. He's just, this is when it got crazy. This is the serial guy.
I'm trying to find
Here's
it.
other low-level crimes, whether he's been convicted of or not. Peeping Tom is usually the number one, the voyeurism, Peeping Tom, going in, breaking into homes and taking, even that cold case squad guy or cold case foundation guy stated that, and I got his name too. What was his name? Greg Cooper said he may have taken a token. He may have taken a token like underwear. What I didn't find on any evidence list was female underwear in his room. But who knows? We know he took a weird way. He didn't take the easiest path home. He took an oddball way to get home that cost him over 200 additional miles and 5 additional hours. When I can tell you, I'm
going to go on that.
6,000 miles, 2-day trip to ask Brian. he graded. And he said that, he was at the lower entry level of this class where Brian Koberger was at a PhD level. And he said, I did want to tell you guys, it is official. Oh, Bullhorn Betty is going to get off vapes. I need to find at least I'm going to try. I'm one of those people that I wish I could find it. I like this. Whenever I was on Patches before, I would go there and I'd pick up the step 1. And please, Andrew, just shut up already. Step 3. And so this one, I bought the whole entire package, and I fuck it anymore. I'm done. So this is one of the goals that I. Hold on a second. Oh, that was my call. Hopefully, it's after that. There we go. We had to just take a little break. It says you are welcome, new members, and thank you. And people see the work that we do and complain about it, then they can. But at least we're doing something. we're not spending hours on TV or on YouTube or other social media platforms complaining. We actually get out and try to do something positive, and hopefully we do. It seems like, at least in this case, this Brian Koberger, the Idaho 4, we've got a lot right. A lot right when there was not a lot of information going on. And that's what I'm most proud of. We stayed out of the pointing the fingers at those young kids. We actually went out there to find out the truth. I think we were very fair in our assessment and our determination of who we thought would be responsible for this. We've stated over and over again, they're not that these people that are accusing these kids aren't looking in the right place. We stated multiple times that when the person is arrested for this crime, it's going to be somebody none of us are looking at. All of these assessments and analysis have all came true. And they were spit out of the mouth of Bullhorn Betty. And that's something that some people are just going to have to hate and eat, because we were spot on this entire case. Now, there are some nuances that maybe some fine details we got wrong, but for all intents and purposes, we rocked on this case. We had an idea of what was going on in this case well before anybody else. The first person, we were the first media, social media or mainstream media that went to Wazoo. The Bullhorn Betty channel was the very first to ever even bring up Wazoo. The first. We were the first to be out on the Wazoo campus. We were the first. We were there by ourselves. What do you think about that? And I got proof. We were there on December 2nd. December 2nd, we were there. Nobody was there. Nobody even brought up Wazoo. Nobody. Let's go to the Bullhorn Betty channel. Let's look at the dates. Let's get some receipts up in here. Let's check and see how accurate Bullhorn Betty. Did extensive review. We did an extensive investigation of our own into these matters. We did that. It doesn't matter whether people like me or not. It matters how much I get right and wrong. And we got it right. Just like most of the cases we cover. Even the Summer Wells case. I want to point this out. We're going to put this up. Share this tab. Look at that. 5 months ago. 5 months ago, we were the first people that ever even brought up how close. There we go. How close Wazoo was. No mainstream media, not News Nation, not Court TV, none of them, not one of them brought up the close proximity to Wazoo. Do you know I was standing out there with the murderer literally a half a mile away from me? That was, and for the love of God, I can't tell you whether he drove by. I can't even tell you whether he drove by. Hey guys. So I want to further show you. Oh, I thought it was December 2nd. It wasn't. It was December 1st. It was December 1st that Bullhorn Betty was out there. They learned of Brian Koberger on the 29th. They learned of Brian Koberger literally early morning hours of the 29th, and we were already starting to put the pieces together. Now, granted, this story was just hypothetical in nature. You'll hear it. I'm going to go ahead and put it up here for you. But we were the first. Bullhorn Betty's channel, no matter what the haters will ever say about the Bullhorn Betty channel, I've got receipts. We were the first people out there. The first. Before he was even known.
Guys, Bullhorn Betty here. I'm outside of Washington State University right now. Why in the world would I be out at Washington State University?
Look at that! That's scary. Like I said, did you see that white car behind me? Like, I'm serious. I don't know if he was watching us. I have no earthly idea whether he was out there watching us or not. Right? Let me go up here. I think I missed some questions. Remember how rattled you and Olivia were when you were so close to Brian without knowing? Yeah, I do. Yeah. It's scary. Frenchie, it was Miss Margaret. She gifted you your membership. Betty, if the state doesn't think they quite have enough evidence to prove him so guilty he deserves death, he gets a hung jury. They won't be able to try it as a DP case a second time. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm not even worried about the second case because we're already assuming that they don't have enough evidence. I truly believe, based upon the affidavits of probable cause, that they have overwhelming evidence, overwhelming digital evidence, overwhelming forensic digital evidence against Brian Koberger, as well as actual evidence. Now, we don't know what's going on with those blood spots and everything like that. We won't know for a while. But for all intents and purposes, I believe that the evidence they have is so overwhelming. He made so many mistakes. That's what makes me believe this really was his first kill. But I do not believe these were his first victims, if that makes sense.
In Washington State University is because this is another college, another university that is in close proximity to the University of Idaho. And we've been hearing a lot of professionals coming out and doing some, analysis of the criminal, to kind of identify who this person may be. A lot can be done in those behavioral type of analysis. And one of the things that screamed out to me is a lot of people are believing that this person is a college-age student. And I thought, driving through here, how close in proximity Washington State University is. And I started.
Boom. Boom. Literally 2 days. Now, mind you, everything was under wraps. They were holding this case close to the chest. We still got more revelations. And here we are out there because we followed leads. We followed our gut. We went out there and researched. We went out there and perused and looked and really tried our hardest to find answers. And again, it's I was talking to my best friend yesterday, and I was we're not I don't have professional investigative background like the FBI or law enforcement. When we come up with profiles and stuff, it is because, oh, thank you, Miss Margaret. God bless you. It is because we're having to do this the long way. For me to profile somebody, like I have to research profiling technique. We have to learn as we go in some of these cases. We have to do a lot of research to be up to snuff with everything. And I'm very proud of the work that we've done. I mean, good Lord, we're competing next to News Nation, next to Court TV, next to Law and Crime. We're out there with these very people sitting right next to us covering this case with Fox News, CNN, and others. And we are the only one that broke away and went over to Wazoo. We were the first ones that even indicated Wazoo being a potential place. How crazy is it that we were right? It was hypothetical at the time, but it panned out. It panned out. And
that's why speculation is so
got
good.
us to this point.
You got to have
a massive amount of work that got us to this point. Did you just feel to go up there, Betty, to Wazoo? I'm super surprised. I didn't see your friend Brian Enton there beforehand. Brian was out there before we got there. We actually saw Brian a couple times while we were out there. I saw a bunch of other people that I knew from the Gabby Petito case out there as well. No, to be honest with you, because of our budgeting constraints, it's a long story, and I don't really want to go over it in public online. But the end of the day was we happened to be in the area, and we didn't realize how in close proximity Wazoo was. We were shocked when we were driving and stumbled across Wazoo, and literally I stopped everything and ran across the street to take this footage because I'm like, holy crap, this college is only 15 minutes away from that. I didn't even know how close we were. So you're telling me we have two universities 15 minutes apart from each other? Like I'm saying this, like I'm like in super shocked. Like I didn't know. But once I saw it, I'm like, whoa, we need to stop. Like I ran. I literally got up, left all my stuff, and ran across
True
the
story.
street when I saw that sign.
True
That's
story.
That's how we stumbled across it. And then pieces started falling together. It's like, holy crap, this is a good possibility. And we kept talking about it. Like the rest of the day, it kept going back to Wazoo. The rest of the day's conversation kept going back to Wazoo. But there's no better receipt than that, right? There's no better receipt than that. That shows a timestamp because I uploaded that after that was taken. And actually, I don't remember if I uploaded it that day or the next day. We may have actually been in front of there on November 30th, for all I know. It depends on when this was uploaded, but I can tell you this video here was actually, you know what? I bet you it's on my phone.
It's on my phone.
Hold on, guys. Let's
We'll
find
go ahead.
out. Let's find out. We'll find out the exact date.
There we go.
Thursday, December 1st at 2022. At what time? 9:18 in the morning, and it tells you right where I was at the time that was taken. Right there. There's the geotagging.
You can't fake that.
There's the date. You're not getting any better receipts than that. Bullhorn Betty channel was the very first channel to ever bring up Wazoo to their audience. So that means we got it before the big guys got it. We got it before. This little fish got it before the little guys did. So before the big guy. This little fish got it before the big guys did, right? So I'm super proud of myself on this case. I have to be honest with you. We did a great, amazing job. I love receipts that contain metadata, sick burn trolls. Yeah. And so you can't fake that. You can't fake that. We were there.
Now you know why
we were the first to cover this. We were the first to bring up Wazoo as a possibility and talk about pay dirt. We were right. We were right about who Brian Koberger was, even when we didn't know who he was. Let's see if I can find that. I know it's on my hard drive.
And we got it. Let me move to
Give me just a second. I know I saved it to my phone, so just give me a second.
There it is.
I can't tell this. Hold on. There we go. And this is when we were leaving. Was it the first time? I think it was the first time.
Yeah, this
Either way,
is
let's
our
go
first
ahead and
trip.
put this up here.
And why? Who do you think did this? And why? Who do you think did this? And why? So as I was talking to you before, what I actually believe we're going to find out is this person was not in their inner circle. But I really, truly believe that this person
And this was done on, so we had Wazoo on December 1st. This right here was done December 3rd. Again, nobody knew of Brian Koberger. Nobody, he wasn't even briefed. People were still pointing the finger at this time at Jack D and Jake as being the culprits in this horrible, crime. So we're sitting here. This was back when everybody's pointing the finger at everybody else. And we're telling everybody, wait a minute, you guys got this wrong. You guys, we're looking all in the wrong spot. We're not looking at the wrong, everybody you're looking at is wrong. The person it's going to be is somebody that no one is looking at. We got that right. Listen to this assessment. This is chilling.
At some point in their path was humiliated. I can't tell you who the person is. I can only just.
We're going to start this over again, but I want to let you know that this analysis was done on 12. I guess I explained it already. 12/3. 12/3. It was done 2 days after our trip to Wazoo. 2 days. It was done on 12/3.
I sound like a broken record.
And that's when she uploaded it.
I
this
sound
could
like
have
a broken record
12/2. I don't remember when we were coming back, but listen
But
to
I'm
this whole
gloating.
thing. I'm going to shut up
You guys
now.
are going to have to deal with Bullhorn
Betty
gloat.
And why? Who do you think did this? And why? So as I was talking to you before, what I actually believe we're going to find out is this person was not in their inner circle. But I really, truly believe that this person at some point in their path was humiliated. I can't tell you who the person is. I can only describe what I believe we're going to find out once the assailant has been caught. I also believe that he has fantasized about this. I believe that he's gone to their house.
Right. Got that right.
But I believe this is a loner.
Got that right.
I think this is a person that's got a complex, but I don't think this was sexually motivated. I think this was humiliation.
Got that right.
And I think the act was for power.
Got that right.
I think he wanted to let them know who he was and how powerful he was. This is the kind of person that I think that is going to be ultimately charged with this crime. But again,
and then
I don't know what that person's name or what they look like is.
Don't know what his name is or what he looks like, but we do know now. Me muted. Twitter, not Twitter, through TikTok, and holy crap, Steve Hellings, even in the videos that were put up for another, was it this case or another case where they were showing all the types of misinformation that were going on? Guess who was not on there? Guess who? Guess whose face never showed up on the misinformation provided by law enforcement? Bullhorn Betty's. That's actually, I don't even think anybody on Twitter got pulled into. Maybe somebody on Twitter. Okay. Stuff. We're on Tweet. This is the best we're gonna get. Hopefully it gets resolved, and hopefully they start allowing the cameras into the courtroom for this public hearing. Yes.
Gotta
open to the effing public. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. It irritates the living snot out of me. Irritates me. All right.
Families were celebrating. It was Christmas Eve 2022, and the Koberger's home in Albrightsville was no different, except they were different. According to our source, investigators learned the following. One of Brian's two older sisters.
You guys have all heard that. She thought it was odd that he was running around with all this. Yeah, hold on. There's something more here. Is that the one that was gloating? Hold on. Having it. Something shooting in the back of my throat. He does him. I love his voice. He has. Yeah, no, that's not it. We have another one coming. And it hits right into the heart of stuff where I'm gloating. But it is, I don't know if we played it before or not. I'm trying to find it now, but it goes to the sheath. So the other thing that Bullhorn Betty got right, here it is.
Military. And
this is going to blow your mind.
Here it is. I think
before he received his master's degree from DeSales, a month before our source tells us, Police have found that Brian Koberger went online and visited Amazon.com to buy a couple of items. A knife, a K-bar, advertised as the best fixed blade knife in the world for hunting, sporting, military, and a knife sheath.
Not sure if you remember, but
So that was the other thing we got right, is I have been saying from the beginning of this case that Brian Koberger, in my opinion, went to Wazoo to carry this crime out. That has been stated, I want to say 30, 40, 50 times over the course of this case. That has come out of my mouth. And with this new revelation, if true, means that we were right about that assessment as well. That he went to Wazoo to carry out this crime. If he purchased that fixed blade knife and had it shipped to him in Pennsylvania and then went to Wazoo with that knife, he went there to carry out this crime. So again, lots have been disclosed here on the Bullhorn Betty channel, and a lot of our theories have panned out. Why is this possible? Because we looked at this case, we put our thinking caps on. When law enforcement told us that those kids were cleared, we took them at face value and we started looking outward, and there was no other people. That's what made me give it an assessment that the person that's responsible for this is somebody we're not even looking at and is not known to us. That's why I came up with that theory. I took the facts at hand and I applied common sense to it, and I came up to a theory. So a lot of this stuff was just my interpretation of the facts and looking at this case in a very diligent way. And once sometimes you just need to have a chalkboard or a writing board and or a piece of paper and just write everything out and just start marking them off. And what are you left with? I personally believed whoever committed this crime had a developed brain. Why is that important? Because in science, we've learned that although we're adults at the age of 18, our brains aren't fully developed to adult brains until we're around 25 years old. All the people that were in and around this group of victims are all under the age of 25, i.e., an undeveloped, fully undeveloped brain. Like, it's not fully developed yet, is what I'm trying to say. I never believed that this was the cookie cutter serial killer profile, white guy, 35 to 40 years old. I thought he was younger. I've always maintained that I thought he was younger, but I thought he was older than the kids, but younger than 35. We got that right. So we've got a lot of things right in our analysis of this case, and we were provided the same facts as everybody else. We just chose to look at those facts slightly different. And then when we had questions, we chose to, before we opened our mouths, we chose to collect the information about our question to decide whether it answered our question or provided us more questions or was more convoluted. And so that's where we started building our profile of Brian Koberger, even though we didn't know we were building the profile for Brian Koberger. We got a lot of things right. Some people may say it was pure luck. I choose and beg to differ. It wasn't pure luck. This was many hours, hundreds of hours of research, hundreds of hours of discussion, hundreds of hours, 2 trips, totaling almost 3 weeks of our time in Idaho to find the truth. And I'm very happy and very pleased with the work that we did. And all of you guys sponsored that. For those that sponsored those 2 trips, that was from this channel. I would have never been able to do that all by myself. It was the help of each and every one of you that contributed to our cause and to the truth. And I hope you are pleased with the results that you got, because without you, Wazoo, we would not have been the first to cover Wazoo. We wouldn't have been the first to give a good profile of the assailant. We would have gotten none of this right if it wasn't for each and every one of you. So the only people that need to be giving themselves a pat on the back is each and every one of you. So I do appreciate that, guys. You guys have been an absolute amazing support for this channel. We have grown leaps and bounds. And while this year, as I told you at the beginning of the year, is going to be, we're not going to be growing significantly until the latter part of the year because of all the stuff we are planning on doing at the beginning of this year. We're already starting to go into, we're at the end of May. The first half of the year, as at the end of next month, will have subsided. And so we are going to have to review our goals for this year to find out what kind of shape we are in meeting each and every one of our goals. I can tell you right now, the one goal I haven't touched and I procrastinated on is the website. The website's going to take a lot of time, and I'm going to have to shut my lives down or take an extended long weekend break, like shut it down Thursday and not be back live until, say, Monday, because it's going to take so much of my time. But I'm not going to even be able with my schedule to divulge even the 4 days to it until a few weeks from now. My schedule is at its max. So that's kind of where we are, guys. I want you guys, don't worry, Jennifer, it's not going to happen for a little minute. I haven't even started with my website strategy yet. I haven't even designed it. I have an idea, but I haven't even put it pen to paper yet. And until that's done, I can't start focusing on, putting that up. Oh, thank you, Lady 7-Up. Thank you. God bless you. I know you've been here for quite some time, but we do appreciate all your love and support. God bless you. And as always, before we close our show, I always like to come and thank our viewers that have supported this particular show. Shannon Perez, thank you so much for your gifted 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. For those that have received a membership today, please be sure to tell Shannon thank you. And Lady 7-Up has become the newest member of the coffee club, even though we know and love love Lady 7-Up. She is officially a coffee clubber this morning. So God bless each and every one of you. And if you guys feel gracious, you love the work that the Bullhorn Betty channel is doing, you want to do something, there's several ways that you can help. For those that are cash strapped, the best way you can help the Bullhorn Betty channel is watch our videos, watch our commercials. That is the best way you can help, and it costs you absolutely nothing but your time and your love for this channel. For those that want to do more, we have several ways. You can provide a tip or sponsor a next trip. You can get something off our Bullhorn Betty much needed supply list. That's on there. You can send a thank you gift. We have 2 different Amazon gifts options. One's strictly for the Bullhorn Betty channel, and one is for me personally for thank yous or whatnot. And of course, you have all the other ways. We work very hard to bring this information to you. This case we hit out of the park, and I can promise you we would not have been able to do it without your love and your support. So God bless each and every one of you. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something, because an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be kind to one another and be safe. God bless each and every one of you.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.